Hello, people, pedestrians, and particle accelerators. This is the one, the only vinyl casket. Please, as we get into this, please follow and subscribe on Twitch at Vinyl Casket. Subscribe, comment, and like on YouTube at The Vinyl Casket. And please follow on Instagram at Vinyl Casket and Vinyl Casket Comics. With that out of the way, today we're going to be reviewing the one, the only Suicide Squad. And I guess it's not really the only because this is the second one. There is no two. There's no sequel thing going on. It's literally the same exact title. But this one is directed by Mr. James Gunn. If you don't know who James Gunn is, he directed both of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, right? For Marvel, for the MCU. Some reoccurring castings here. His brother is Sean Gunn, who is, I would most know him as Kurt from, or Kirk. It's either Kirk or Kurt from Gilmore Girls. He also does the motion capture for Rocket Raccoon. And he's also another character that I can't pronounce his name exactly in Guardians. With that being said, there was a lot of controversy with him going into the new Guardians. He got fired from Marvel, somehow landed this. I don't know if he landed this before or after that, but got rehired by Marvel, and then this movie's coming out, right? Besides that, I have enjoyed most movies that I've seen that have been directed by him. He did Super, which is a really good movie, I think, starring the man that plays Dwight in The Office. With that being said, this movie literally just came out this past week. Well, it is Monday going into Tuesday. This movie was literally released this past Thursday, 2021, and it was released in both theaters and HBO Max. Personally, I saw it on HBO Max. So I have nothing to say about this in a theater aspect, how the environment was. I got nothing to say for that. This is my first real movie review, but also my first review of something that is right after it being released, right? The other stuff I've had like a week, couple weeks before I've really talked about it. But this is brand new, just happened. This is my first, so I'm going to be handling it a little differently. Usually I break everything up into segments. I talk about things and I go very analyze and I pull things apart, mostly technically. Because if you don't know, I have a master's degree in TV and film production. So I go into things with a very technical eye and I talk about that because that's the stuff I enjoy. This is going to be very different from my past reviews. Yes. I was going to get into that. Thank you, Mr. Matt from Australia, the biggest Boomerang fan I know. So I'm going to quickly just get through the technical stuff because honestly, it's all basically standard, right? For a modern day superhero film, there's nothing crazy. There's nothing out of the ordinary. It just kind of hits the bare minimum with that lighting, camera work, audio levels, all that stuff, all that film stuff that sometimes is missed, right? In other movies and other stuff and TV stuff. Marvel and DC are almost, besides like Justice League, are almost perfect with that, right? There's no problems. There's nothing. Thank you. This video will be on YouTube in the very near future. What I did want to talk about is the editing. So every film has its own style of editing. Every editor, every group of editors, team of editors, everything's edited differently, right? The production here was great. It's, the modern, what you should expect. Nothing indie industrial experimental, but nothing below average. With that being said, editing. every film has a unique editing, and it's completely different from the production style or the production standards. Editing can make or break a film in certain people's eyes. If you're like, oh, I didn't really like the way it flowed, I didn't understand, I couldn't keep up with it, visually wasn't appealing. That's mostly because of the editing. Here, I love the editing style. I really liked how they inserted basically what was title screens, right? And I'll talk more about how they use these later. Title screens, through the use of like panning and transitioning between scenes and between events, basically they used like scenery and surroundings to make it look, to make it spell out, like, you know, the next scene, the next chapter. Oh, Suicide Squad versus this, Operation this. Oh, we got to go this. Oh, they want to, you know, whatever the next phase of the story was. It was basically like a title screen for that like event or that chapter in the movie, made, you know, spelt out through blood, through tree branches, whatever, and uses like a transitionary scene between the last scene and the next scene. And I thought that was so creative by, you know, the whole production team, whoever came up with that, and the way it was edited and transitioned into the film was perfect. That's all I got to say about editing. The next thing before I get into character story, whatever, is CGI. Also soundtrack was good, solid, matched the beats of the story, went up and down, climax. You know, nothing like Guardians of the Galaxy, where the soundtrack was super integral to both movies. Um, Middle ground, nothing wrong with it. Nothing stellar like Guardians or Guardians 2, but nothing wrong with it. CGI. I thought the CGI was really good. I've seen a lot of really bad CGI. I thought this was pretty good. You know, Weasel, King Shark, Starro, all done amazing. And I do think that has to do with the modern age technology we have for motion capture. And instead of like completely CGIing a lot of these things, most of it is motion capture, right? And it's done well. It's utilized perfectly. You know, motion capture, I feel like originally got really popular for video games such as like Skate or Tony Hawk. Like that's when we're like, oh yeah, like we'll capture the movements through here. And I feel like movies nowadays utilize it perfectly, instead of like causing, you know, it could look really wonky if you just completely CGI'd a whole scene of a monstrous character walking around. It might look chunky, not fluid. They do a really good job with that, right? Yeah, that's really all I had. You know, there was a scene with Killer Shark where he ripped someone in half. Um, you know, I heard comments that it looked kind of unrealistic. I thought it was, you know, very believable based on someone who reads comics. I enjoyed it very much. Okay, now finally into what I want to talk about, which a big part, you know, if you've never read Suicide Squad books, every movies, whatever, rely heavily on the cast. There was only like 3 returning, maybe 4 if you count Amanda Waller. 4 returning characters from the previous Suicide Squad movie. And obviously, the main character, Suicide Squad, is almost always Harley Quinn. She was here, you know, awesome. Straight out of, you know, character straight out of her last movie, which was Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey. I enjoyed that. A lot of people didn't. I enjoyed that. So character accuracy. So for all the characters that made it past the first scene, I thought that, you know, accuracy was based on their comic counterparts was pretty much on point. You know, nothing too off the ball that would make me hate it. Nothing crazy, nothing new. You know, they did a pretty good job. Bloodsport and Peacemaker were literally identical to how they're being portrayed currently in the current Suicide Squad title, right? Exactly how I would think they would be portrayed was exactly how were. You read the last couple issues of Suicide Squad, these guys are almost identical to that, and I thought that was great because new people that now hop on, like Suicide Squad's only on like 5 or 6 issues in, they can easily grab these issues now and read, and the characters are going to translate directly from the movie, and it's going to hook a new audience, and that's awesome. Um, that's really all I had about accuracy. Character selection. So we'll go through. All right. So the characters that made it into this movie, right? And if I'm gonna complain about this, I'll just get it out of the way because this is a complete spoiler review. We're hitting the spoiler territories. Everything before was basically, you know, opinions and technical mumbo jumbo and characters that are already, we already knew. Spoilers. First scene eliminates a huge. We all knew that the cast of characters going in the trailers and everything was way too big. They looked like there was two separate teams. There's a whole first team is just eliminated, right? First scene dead. And I feel like that was annoying. Characters that made it in this movie: Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, King Shark, Peacemaker, Polka Dot Man, Ric Flair, Ratcatcher. Right? I think that was almost the entire main grouping of guys that made it past the first scene, right? So we also had Captain Boomerang. We also had Mongal. We had Javelin. We had Blackguard. Was that it? Oh, we had the detachable kid, and pretty sure that was it. I might be. Oh, and Weasel, right? Right off the bat, whole half of those guys dead, gone, out of here. The characters that stayed, I thought were okay. Polka Dot Man was a little strange of a character to have in there. King Shark is cool. Peacemaker, I hate Peacemaker in general. I do not like John Cena, but I don't like the character in general. Weasel was wild, right? The couple scenes that he was in, wild. Sean Gunn, incredible. Biggest disappointment was that there was no, Captain Boomerang barely made it. And I know Matt in his review, Talking Pop Culture on YouTube, talked about this in his spoiler complaints. For a character that made it from the first movie to this movie, you think he'd carry on. I thought, literally was sitting down, and the first thing I said, I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure the only ones that are going to make it through this scene are Harley Quinn, Rick Flag, and Captain Boomerang, because they were in the last movie. All these other guys are going to die. Captain Boomerang, not only does he get killed so early on, he gets brutally killed. Like, there was no surviving it. It's not like he could, come back now. You just eliminated a main character of the Suicide Squad, a main villain that could be used later on in, like, the Flash movie and stuff like that, right? Like, Captain Boomerang is now gone. Done. You can't use him anymore unless someone takes on his, Captain Boomerang Jr., right? Like, how are you going to have the Flash Rogue Gallery without Captain Boomerang? Mirror Master and all those guys. No Captain Boomerang. It doesn't make sense. Mongal was cool to see. I wish it would have made it a little bit longer. Javelin was stupid. Weasel was wild. The guy that what was his name? God dang it. There was one other character that Rooker was playing, and I can't think of his name, but I'm not actually sure. Oh, yeah, I really liked who played Captain Boomerang. And I thought, thank you for getting in the chat. I really assumed that he would play a much bigger role. He's a pretty good actor. He was in the last movie. You thought, they kill him off. I know no one's safe in a Suicide Squad movie or a comic or anything. I know everyone is, can die. I just thought that, Bloodsport was a really cool character to see. I think he pulled off that role of replacing, what's his name, Will Smith as Deadshot, especially since the actor that played him was Heimdall in Thor. Yes, I do remember that. But with that being said, character selection. I really would have liked to see some other characters, or at least all the characters that got killed would have been like lower level, not as important characters. Losing Mongal, who could be used way later on. Losing, Blackguard. I didn't even mention Blackguard. And what's his name? Captain Boomerang kind of sucked. I would have liked to see. I'm a huge Pete Davidson fan. I would have loved to see him utilized more as Blackguard. I thought that character was pretty funny. Then we'll get into character development. The only people that really got development in this were the new characters introduced in the second team. Rick Flag got almost no real development. I thought his humor was pretty much on display. I thought he was written as a more developed character than the last movie, but I don't think he got any personal real development, right? Harley Quinn, no more development since the last movie she was in. So she's already been in 2 movies. This is her 3rd. I think she really just didn't get any development in here. She was kind of underutilized and overutilized at the same time. And then Peacemaker got no development, but at the same time, I hate him already. He didn't need to. It was just the way they used the character was terrible. The way the character is written, both in comics and whatever, I guess I just don't get it or just don't like it. I think it's just annoying. But Bloodsport, Ratcatcher, King Shark, and even Polka Dot Man were just very developed throughout this. You got to, you got little bits and pieces of their past, their background, what fuels them, why they do what they did, how they got caught. Don't get me started on the He-Man thing, especially if Matt's around. Do not get me started on the He-Man thing. I did a review on that. Huge He-Man fan, huge Kevin Smith fan. I'm very indifferent about people going off about that. But what was I saying? Where was I? Development. Those characters, those new characters got really well developed, and it kind of added to the story. So with that, the story, okay? I'm gonna start off like I said before. I liked how it was broken up into sections, like chapters. So like if you were to, a YouTuber and you wanted to break this down into scenes, it made it very easy to break this down and just post specific chapters or scenes, right? That's not really the intent, but I'm saying you could watch it, sit down and just watch a scene, because they kind of like each chapter of the story was divided with like a title screen. Like I said, that like was the surrounding made into words that kind of gave you a hint of what was going to happen next and kind of broke the transition between scene to scene. I like that. I thought that was cool. The humor was very hit or miss for me. I thought there was a little bit too much humor, and the film I'm going to compare it to is Deadpool 2. I felt the same way. The humor, they went above and beyond from the previous movie, right? Trying to top it as a sequel, trying to do it better, right? I feel like in that it hurts itself by putting too much emphasis on the humor and not enough in other areas. Where it's almost, I was laughing because of how stupid it was and not the actual writing. Like, why would you put that in there instead of, oh, that was like really funny? in a bad way. Um, Guardians of the Galaxy, the humor, especially Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the humor with me hit perfectly. And I think it's because the humor of the first one was kind of dialed down, and the humor of the second one just kind of went up, right? Like evolution wise. The humor in the first Suicide Squad was like there, but I didn't think it was that. It was just there. I thought it was good. Whatever. There was a lot of cool stuff in that movie. This one amplified it by like 10. Tried to hide it in every sentence and every scene. Everything was about humor. There was lots of dumb jokes, like too many. So like one, okay, but one after the other after the other. After the first one didn't even hit, didn't really get me enthused with it. I was kind of laughing at it because it was stupid. The same way I felt about Deadpool 2 is that it took the humor from the first one and amplified it for like 10, trying to like compete with it, and it just kind of ruined it. The over saturation of bad jokes diluted the good ones, basically made them not funny to me, and kind of ruined what they were trying to do. Enjoy both movies, but I'm just saying that kind of hurt it for me, was the over saturation of stupid humor just made everything just kind of laughable in a bad way. Yeah, but with that, I'm just gonna straight up spoilers, right? I liked the use of I liked how Amanda Waller had a team this time, like a really like they got character development. I don't really know their name besides I think John was one guy. Got character development. They were kind of very integral in the progression of the story. That was cool. Getting to see more of the characters in the prison and the flashbacks to how they get to this point was cool. Starro was cool. The whole story that developed why Starro was there, what was happening to Starro, how he got so big, that was cool. The fact that the U.S. was funding it the whole time gave it that whole peacemaker thing, and the fight between them and kind of split the team apart in that aspect, awesome. And also gave them that leverage at the end to get out of the deal. Thought that was cool. So basically, they have to get to this point. They get to the island. The first team's basically killed. Only people that survive is Rick Flag and Harley Quinn. That was cool how those two characters end up in their separate things and they tie into the main story later on. I did like how Harley Quinn, did this whole thing, got on with this guy, and then just shot him. And was like, I know when to tell red flags. That was a cool scene. I liked that. The second team, I think, was way more fleshed out. They came in, they did their thing. Thought that was cool. I really liked King Shark. I wish they would have given him a little bit more brains like they do in the Harley Quinn animated series. But this was cool too. Ratcatcher was a character I didn't expect to like, and her story and her abilities, the way they were shown in this, were so cool, right? The stuff with her dad, Polka Dot, man, didn't expect it like that at all. I thought his powers were absolutely phenomenal, well used, and the whole thing with his mom and how they edited characters to become to morph into his mom in his eyes, psychologically and physically, was so cool. Yeah, and the only real, there was lots of action, lots of crazy action and deaths and gore, and I thought that fit this franchise perfectly. But they almost hit the too much, right? They almost overdid it because they were mixing it with the humor too much, right? And it kind of complemented itself, and then they just went past that, and that's when I was like, ooh, they should slow down. Like, they're gonna ruin this for me. But they did what they did. Everything blends in well at the end. I thought it was pretty cool. I like how the explosions and the tower getting taken down and the battle with Starro. Bloodsport really stole the show for me. Bloodsport and Ratcatcher were my favorite parts of this. There's all the action. The javelin. Javelin was a character that died. Gave the javelin to Harley Quinn. That was kind of humorous. And then she uses the javelin at the end. That was cool. And I like the ending, how it transitions to that. And I'm just really mad that they didn't bring back Rick Flag. They killed Rick Flag. They killed Polka Dot Man, and they let what we think kills Peacekeeper, he's still alive. Leads into his HBO Max show, which is happening. Unfortunately, I think it's stupid. But yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of this movie. Parts of it agreed with me, parts of it didn't. You know, hit or miss. Rating wise, obviously, technically, graphically, CGI, all that stuff. Especially Starro, the way Starro was animated, it was rendered and everything. 10 out of 10. Story, I'll give it like a. I feel like the story went back and forth all over the place, but I'll give it a 7. 6.5. No, I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7. Character development is going to get a 6 because of how split it was with character selection. And the whole movie as a whole is only going to get a 6 from me. I feel like the story had a lot more potential. I feel like the humor weighed it down. I feel like the character selection was a little, introducing all these characters and then killing off so many. And Weasel's alive at the end somehow, spends a whole day dead on the beach to just spit out water and walk. Okay, cool. But yeah, I think I conveyed everything I have to say about this. I'll definitely be talking with 1 month later, the next time we do a stream, about this probably. You can definitely check out Matt at Talking Pop Culture and YouTube's review to see what he had to say. And yeah, this is it. This is all I got. I'm going to give the movie a 6. I hope the next one is... I don't know if it is, to be honest with you. I still think that Aquaman and the first Wonder Woman are pretty high up there for me. Suicide Squad 1 and Harley Quinn Birds of Prey are very high up for me. I don't think this lived up. Maybe after the second or third time watching it, I will think differently. But right now it's a 6. It might make it to an 8 over time. But right now it's kind of, it's definitely above Batman vs. Superman. It's above Justice League. It's above, Wonder Woman 2 and stuff like that. But right now it's just hitting the middle ground for me. And it might get better over time, but I'm not sure yet. I'm going to leave it there with like a 6, maybe a 6.5. And if anyone has, in the comments, please let me know how you felt about it. Did you like it? What were your problems with it? What did you think they could have done better? What do you think couldn't have been done better? What was amazing? Please subscribe on... Oh, I also forgot to show. My favorite poster they put out was this one. And with that, boom. Please follow and subscribe here on Twitch at Vinyl Casket. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube at The Vinyl Casket, please subscribe, comment, and like the video. Let me know what you felt. Let me know how you're doing. And then follow on Instagram at Vinyl Casket and Vinyl Casket Comments. I really appreciate everything you guys have to say. Let me know. Tomorrow I will most likely be doing a review of my entire record collection. So check that out on YouTube and Twitch soon. Remember, this is the Vinyl Casket. I am Nick, home to the lamest tastes, and please stay lame.